Hello everyone, I'm Valerie with Hugs and Stitches, and I'm so glad that you stopped by my channel today. I wanted to show you part 2 of the Bluebirds in Love quilt block that I made the other day, and I put a video out on that, on how to make it. I will link that below and put a card up here. If you're interested in seeing what I did with that Bluebirds in Love quilt block, stick around. This is what I have decided to do. I am making a basket. I had this charm pack called Ivy Reese. This is what it looks like. It's by Riley Blake. It had a lot of the same mauves and blues that I had in these birds. I decided about how big I wanted my basket to be in diameter. This is a 16-inch diameter. I'm making a very large basket. A basket that you put toys or shoes or towels or something in. I've never made a basket, so this is a new project for me. I cut this out, and this is like a denim, and it had florals on it. I thought that went really well. I'm going to put this on the bottom because I feel like this is going to be very durable and sturdy. I took the charm packs and pieced them together, just large pieces. I didn't want small. I put a row on this side, and then I put the majority of it on this side. And this measures about 50 inches. It's quite large. I had to pick my husband's brain, and I said, if I had a 16-inch diameter, how much fabric would I need to wrap around? He said you take pi 3.1415 and multiply that times your diameter. So I needed about 50 inches. Let me tell you exactly. I needed 15.92 diameter in inches. That is pretty close to 16 inches. I'm hoping that that will accommodate my 1/4 inch seam allowance. It may not be perfect, but I think it'll be close enough. The next step in this process will be for me to get the foam stabilizer. So it'll be a sandwich of the top, the foam stabilizer, and the lining. And the same thing with the bottom. I'm going to quilt that. I'm just going to straight stitch it along these charm packs. I might do diagonal. I think that might be fun. I'm not sure. I will be showing you that next step in just a sec. I am doing this to about 2.5 inches. I'm just doing a big block because this is just a basket. So just about finished. My sewing machine tension is a little messed up right now, and it keeps popping this thread out every time I cut it, or not every time, but in a lot of these. I am going to go trim off the edges. We'll see where we go from there. I trimmed it up, and this is how big it is. It's kind of shorter. It's 14 inches tall, but it's very wide. It's this big around. I wanted it to be big enough to use as a shoe bin or something like that. So I can put both arms in. It's really big. I sewed it together on this side, and I'm about to put some fabric over it as a French seam. So this is the very bottom, the external bottom. It's that denim. And then this is the matching internal. So I have sprayed some of the 505 basting spray and on the center of both to keep it in place. This one's not very much. I'll clip the sides, and I'm about to make my quilting lines on this one. I'm just going to get a heat erasable pen and a ruler. On the sides I did 2.5 inches, but I'm going to do much thinner. I think I'll just do 1.5 inches on these because I really feel like, since it's smaller and since it's the bottom, I want to reinforce it. I am covering the seam here, and I have sewn this back side and I've wrapped it around so it'll cover this front side. And I'm going to sew a stitch seam line right down there. I've stitched this line. Now, when you look inside, it has a seamless look. When I flip it around, it will look like this. When you see inside, you just see this seam. I'm going to do the same thing when I sew the bottom on, I'm going to keep this, turn it inside out, and I'm going to sew it like this around when I get this quilted. I am sewing the bottom onto the sides here. I have clipped this around, and now I am just sewing this on. It's just a little bit of fiddling when you go around with it. You can only go a little bit. I'm going over the seam now, and that's a lot of fabric, so I was just taking it very slow. So cast it, and then I back stitched. I have this totally on now. It looks really good from this side. You can see this is what it looks like when I am flipping this. It looks great. See the inside? You can see that raw seam. I'm going to flip it back out. After I've made sure that everything looks really good, I'm going to flip this back out, and I'm going to put some fabric over it, like a French seam, just like I did right here on the side. I'm going to put that on there. I have cut 2.5-inch strip of fabric, and I have ironed it in half, and now I am just stitching it on just like you would a binding onto this basket. Okay, that looks really nice on this side. And now I'm going to trim that and put that over. I have sewed this side of it, I trimmed it, and now I have flipped it over onto that side. I think I'm going to sew right here the stitch in the ditch so it'll catch this side. I think it will just look cleaner if I do that. I'm going to give it a shot. This is getting very, very thick. Alright, so that's how that looks on this side. So I am pleased with that. Next step is I'm going to put my top binding on. I'm getting ready to put the handles on this basket. I purchased some leather. It comes in stripping like this. You can cut this with regular craft scissors. I cut off 2 lengths. I came over to my basket, and this is about where I want them to go on the sides. I cut them and then trimmed the edges so that they were a little round. I have 2 of them, same length. I am using this punch tool to punch holes in them. You're supposed to use cardboard in this punch tool, and then you put your leather or whatever on top of it so that it doesn't damage this back part right here. Looks like there's still, even though I've done this, still some marks in there. So I put one in, and then I just used that as a template for all the other ones. I put 2 holes so that I could make sure that it was very secure with these brads. I have one more punch to do, and I was going to show you how I did that. This one only has 1, and I want to put 2. I'm going to use this one as a template. I'm going to get a pen, and I'm going to draw a little hole. That's what it's going to look like on the back of the leather. And then I'm going to put that on the cardboard, and I'm going to punch. I can just do it with one hand. It goes through very, very easily, and I've got my 2 holes in here. So all of these are completed. Now I want to mark where I want to put them on my basket. I'm going to use large brads. These are 12 millimeters. I'm going to get the 2 tops, or the 2 males, and then the 2 female ends. Whoop, I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm going to need to get 4 of them. I thought it would look really good with this brassy look, bronze. So this particular kit that I got has different colors. It has this silver gunmetal, and then it has this bronze color, and it has gold. It has 3 different sizes. These are 6 millimeters, and then the medium size are 8 millimeters, and then these size are the 12 millimeters. I'm going to take my handles and mark where I want. This is the front of the basket with the bluebirds. I definitely want that centered, so I'm going to eyeball this. It looks pretty darn close. I just folded it in half. I could measure this little section from the white to the end but I can tell that that's probably pretty darn close. So with a friction pen, I'm going to mark, I'm just going to mark the center right there, where I folded it, so that I can work my handles on either side of that. So when I look at this, you can see I have a tiny mark right there. I want these to be straight up and down. I feel like I'm going to measure that. That's exactly an inch. I have a mark on here. It's 1.5 inches from this side. It would be okay to make like little dots there. You can see those dots. I can follow that back over 1.5 inches over here. Will be my second one. I'm going to have to measure how far down I want that to be. That's 3/4 of an inch down. My 2 holes. So this side has all 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've put 3 brads in, or rivets, and I'm getting ready to do the last one right here. I wanted to show you how to do that. I want this to be the cap side. So I'm going to find the hole, I'm going to push this rivet through the fabric, and then I'm going to put it through the leather. There's this little anvil piece, and I want that to go on the bottom of this. I want the little rivet to fit in here. I'm going to make sure that's standing straight. Then I'm going to take the little cap piece and it'll fit right on top. And then I'm going to take the little punch with the concave side, put that right over the cap, make sure that that's straight. I'm going to take a hammer and I'm a couple small hits, and as you can tell, it is in. Now I have one handle. This is what it looks like on the inside. This is what it looks like on the outside. So that is pretty simple. I'm going to do the other side real quick and be done. Okay, my basket is complete with leather handles. I think that looks fantastic. What do you all think? Thanks for joining me for this video. It was a lot of fun to make this basket. I've never made one before, so I feel like I gained some new skills in this. And I would really like it if you would like or subscribe. It takes a lot of work to build a YouTube channel, and I would appreciate you joining the community with me. And God bless you all.